Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Blinded by Science. My usual two co-workers, Jeremiah Roberts and Gavin Hahn, decided to get a head start on spring break and are on a plane headed to Cancun. I hope to be joining them shortly. Also, due to a lack of funding, I am doing this broadcast out of my old room at my old house. Alright, our first story today. New research could bring gene therapy a step closer for Rett syndrome. Groundbreaking research being funded by West Sussex-based Children's Charity Action Medical Research has started at the University of Edinburgh. Approximately 1 in every 10,000 to 15,000 baby girls develops Rett syndrome, a very serious developmental disorder, which devastates not only the child's life, but those of family and carers too. Little girls with Rett syndrome have profound and multiple physical and learning disabilities, and are totally dependent on others for care. Sorry about my stuttering. They struggle with communication and mobility, while other serious problems can include seizures, chronic spinal curvature, and breathing and feeding difficulties. In 2007, researchers discovered that it was possible to reverse the symptoms of Rett syndrome in a laboratory model using genetic manipulation. In this project, researchers are hoping to map out which parts of the brain are linked to each individual symptom of Rett syndrome. They hope to help bridge the gap between the laboratory model and the patient and provide additional proof of principle that gene therapy has the potential to improve the lives of girls with Rett syndrome. And now to our next story. Like electricity, but magnetic. In a new study, scientists were able to, in a way, separate north poles from south poles and make them move through material. This movement of magnetic charges acts a lot like a current of electricity, the researchers report. And that similarity gave the researchers a great reason to coin a new word. They call the flow magnetricity, combining the words magnet and electricity. The discovery highlights some of the similarities between magnetism and electricity. The current did not come from moving electrons, it was magnetic rather than electric. The scientists created the current in small crystals of a material called spin ice. To get the magnetic flow going, the researchers applied pulses of a magnetic field to the crystal. As magnets flipped, they appeared to be passing a magnetic monopole down the line, like the smallest game of hot potato you could imagine without a potato. This game of hot potato created a magnetic current. The scientists measured that current and discovered that it behaved almost exactly like an electric current. These magnetic currents can last for several minutes. The new experiment shows how the connection between magnetism and electricity is, and perhaps in the future, we can all drive magnetic cars. For those of you probably 9th graders in advanced biology out there watching this, it's alright if you don't understand it. Neither do I. In our next story, we head back to genetics, but in the ocean. Wait, exploring the genetics of deep coral reefs. David Gruber, Facts, National Geographic. That is the title of the article from which this story is based upon. That's not plagiarism, folks. Trust me. NGS/Wait grantee Dr. David Gruber and his team aim to explore the deep coral reefs of Mabini, Batangas, Philippines in late August, early September 2011. The team is in search of the elusive far-red fluorescent protein and have evidence that it may exist at depth, at the bottom range of where photosynthesis can occur. Fluorescent proteins are pivotal in contemporary biological and biomedical science, and their discovery was awarded the 2008 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Once again, folks, I'm very sorry. I'm reading this off of a whiteboard, which is about 15 years old. Excuse me. A suitable far-red fluorescent protein would offer optical proteins that could revolutionize disease research and illuminate the inner workings of the human brain. It has yet to be discovered. 2 expedition members have discovered a fluorescent protein that can monitor activity of simple neurons. They aim to better understand the biology and genetics of deep water corals to aid in conservation efforts, and to discover new compounds from deep coral reefs, many areas where humans have never been, to assist biological research. And now for our final story of the day. Leicester leads on heart attack genetic link discovery. The largest ever study of its type into coronary heart disease, involving scientists at the University of Leicester, has uncovered a new genes that increase risk of heart attacks. The study involved over 167 clinicians and scientists from UK, Europe, Iceland, USA, and Canada, and over 140,000 participants. Professor Samani said, "The most exciting thing about our study is that we have discovered several new genes not previously known to be involved in the development of coronary heart disease, which is the main cause of heart attacks. Understanding how these genes work, which is the next step, will vastly improve our knowledge of how the disease develops and could ultimately help to develop new treatments. Each new gene identified brings us a small step closer to understanding the biological mechanisms of cardiovascular disease development and potential new treatments. However, as the number of genes grows, it takes us further away from the likelihood that a simple genetic test will identify those most at risk of suffering a heart attack or a stroke." And now, to the FBI's 10 most wanted people in America, a so-called Dan Rote, a biology teacher, an advanced biology teacher at the at Tualatin High School, Tualatin, Oregon. He is accused of 3 aggravated accounts of heckling a student. The student, Connor McCullough, reported on Tuesday these allegations, either one. Mr. Rote has since been on the run and is not considered highly dangerous. If you have any knowledge of Mr. Rote, Dan Rote, that's R-O-T-T, please call 1-800-696-SCIENCE FBI Rote. That's all for today, folks. This is Vinny Han, and you've just been blinded by science. In our next story, we head back to genetics, but in the ocean. Which is, wow, god dang it. I was trying to think of something to do. In our next story, Dr. David Gruber went to Israel, and my tiny little nipples went to France. I like do the cha-cha. Come on. And now to our next story. Like electricity, but magnetic. In a new study, scientists were able to, in a way, separate North Poles from South Poles and make them move through a material.
But
those of family and carers too. Oh crap. In our next story, Dr. David Gruber went to Italy. No, stop. Never mind, just delete that. And now to our next story, why do teens get acne? And now to our next story. Like electricity,